Hey guys, Dylan
And Emily
from Noble Records coming at you with another video. To honor our year anniversary in the shop, we wanted to do a video just about our journey, how we got here. A lot of people, we put out that we were going to do a Q&A, and a lot of people ask a lot of questions. Most of them were about starting the record store, how it happened, all that stuff. So we thought we would tell the story, and then towards the end of the video, ask some other questions that were asked. So we will just get into it. And Emily's gonna keep me on track with my memories. She usually can remember things that I don't, and she fact checks things that I embellish. So anyways, if you're new to the channel, I know I've gotten a lot of new subscribers since the last time I did one of these. The first one I did with her was in June of 2019. So that was before we opened the shop and before we knew we were gonna open the shop. And then we did a Q&A a few months ago that everybody really liked. So it's probably because of her, if we're being honest. But yeah, so the one we did in June, if you want to go back and look, we talk a lot more about like our journey to get, like before we opened the shop with the business. I'm not going to go into all that. If you want to go watch that video, it's really good, very in depth on like how we got to selling records and how that all started and everything. But this is just, we're going to kind of pick up with the shop. I'll do a brief recap. So basically, I started selling records when we got married in 2010. We also just celebrated our 10-year anniversary this month. So we've been married 10 years, crazy. But when we got married, super broke, sold my record collection from when I was a kid, and then I found myself trying to get them back. So I was going to Goodwills, thrift stores, all that stuff to buy records back again. Ended up buying a huge, massive collection of a lifetime, better than anything I've made a video on. Just the most incredible collection I got, and then started selling them online to buy more things I wanted, and it turned into like a little side hustle. And then I did it. I sold on eBay for years and years, did it as a living for a few years. We had kids, it wasn't cutting it, worked a bunch of different jobs. Then fast forward, we worked different jobs until August of last year. So that's when this whole thing picks up. So June was when we made our first video together, when we talk about our whole history. And then August, everything changed. So we were not planning on opening a shop. That's not something.
we have been talking about it.
We've been talking about it. We've been thinking.
But it was dreaming for long distance future.
Yeah, long distance dreaming. So if we're picking up in 2019, I was working a job, really wasn't liking it at all. It was horrible. And it was just the type of thing where it wasn't just, I know everyone hates their job a little bit, but it was the type of thing that just was sucking my soul out. I mean, I hated it and really wanted something else. And so I started ramping up my pop-ups. I was doing a lot of pop-ups. Started getting to where I was making more with that than I was at my regular job. So I was trying to figure out how it would be possible to transition into doing records full-time. My YouTube channel wasn't anything at the time. But anyways, this was early 2019. And as she remembers it, you say it was like winter time, like February or so.
Yeah, like February. I don't know, we had just started contemplating if we could somehow open up a record store and him still work the job.
Yeah. So like the idea was dumb, but the idea was that I would work on the weekends and then hire someone to work it during the week.
Yeah.
And which is pretty much what I do now. But anyways, it was a dumb idea at the time because I didn't know what I was doing. And we drove by here and saw this spot and it was available.
Yeah.
So I called them and the landlord said, yeah, so this is a whole strip and we're at the very end. So this is connected to another unit that was one big unit. And so she wanted to rent that big unit out to one person to get both sides. It was way more space than I needed. It was way more expensive than I could pay. So I was like, well, I guess it's not meant to be. And a few months later, I watched a documentary on, it was called All Things Must Pass. And it was a story of Tower Records. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do. Like I watched it and I was like, I want to start a record store. That's so cool. I'd never really, I mean, I thought about it in the past, but it was something that was always way out in the future that I was not there yet, And I thought, I could do it now. I think I could do it now. So I called her back, begged her, please split up the units and let me rent one. No, can't do it. So we went for months. That was in March. I know that was in March when we kind of gave up on this spot. But Emily was like, I feel it here. This is it. This is the right place for us.
Yeah, and it's so funny because the way I remember it, it was like February, and we had kind of talked about, one day let's open up a shop. And we were just driving by one day, and he said, if I could ever open up a record shop, it would be right there. And as soon as he said that, I was like, I see it. I see it. And then we looked at a lot of other spaces, but we thought it wasn't going to work out here.
There was a lot of like, there's another spot that was like it used to be a smoke shop, and it has funky smell, and she's got a thing about smells.
But it was only like a quarter of the size of this.
It was tiny. It was like maybe like 700 square feet or something. It was really small.
And then we looked at certain spots, but we weren't really filling it, and then the people never called us back. It was
very discouraging, and so
we always kept coming back to this spot.
Yeah, and I called her, the landlord, she's probably hated me, 100 times. Called her, begging her, please, no. So about every month I would check back. She'd always say no, but it was still available, so I still had hope. Anyway, so fast forward through the summer, we were constantly looking, thinking we really want to do something like that. And the ultimate goal is to transition into a record shop. But, fast forward to August, I got called into my boss's office. No warning, no nothing. Today's your last day. I didn't do anything wrong. They just laid me off. And so I was really upset about it. Emily was not. That's how she is. She was not upset at all. She was
walked in,
She's like, I walk in and I said, they let me go.
And I literally was like, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. So
it was sucking your soul.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like, well, I don't know what we're going to do. So we really kind of lasered in on record shop because I was like, I don't want to work another job for someone I don't like, Yeah. So we basically, for like, that was August, all that month, August, September, looked, couldn't find anything. And I remember it was one day in September, which I never do this, but I was taking a nap on the couch, and I thought, if it doesn't happen today, if I don't find a spot today, I'm gonna have to just go get a job somewhere, because we were out of money completely. We had no money left. The job I was working, well, I wasn't making good money before. They let me go, so we burned up all the money we had. And I just said, I got to provide for my family, got to make money, I got kids, And so I said, if it doesn't happen today, I'm going to have to figure something out. I was very upset. I felt like, my dream of this was gone,
Well, and at that point, like, it was the kind of thing to where we were like, okay, the rug has been pulled out from under us. We've got to get back up either way. So do we want to, now is the opportunity, we can make this happen, or we can put our dream aside still and just continue what we've been doing for years. Right. And so about then, when I was still on the couch at this point, which I don't stay on the couch long. So still on the couch at this point where I was just like so upset, and my phone rings, and it's the landlady. And she said, because I begged her, I was like, just meet with me. Just sit down with me and meet with me. And if after the meeting, you say no, I'll take no, and we'll forget about it. So she said, let's meet. So, and she just wasn't sure about records. She was like, I thought records went out. And
it was a combo of her wanting to rent this unit out to this one person, and then also that seemed like a really bad idea to her, which is understandable. So we met over here. We got to look inside the place. Here's a picture of what it looked like. There was walls up everywhere. It used to be like an antique store with the separate booths and stuff. So anyway, she said, could this work for you? And I kind of explained my business model, like what we've been doing. I showed her like my tax returns, like all the, like what I had made to show her that I was actually making enough to pay rent. And she ended up saying, I really like you guys. Let's do it. Like on the spot, let's do it. And I wasn't expecting that. I was so excited, and I remember driving home after that, and I was just like, I was crying. I couldn't believe it was happening. It was that big.
Yeah.
It was that huge of a shift. And so at that point, she was like, you know, you can open the shop whenever you want, but you have to start paying rent now. So I had to pay rent. I had to give her a deposit and start paying rent on October 1st. That was September 13th, I believe, that we decided to do it. So I had no money, zero money.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm gonna have to sell some things.
Yeah.
So I sold some guitars, I sold some grails, sold a lot of records. We rustled up enough fast. And we did everything ourselves. We painted everything ourselves. Most nights.
Everything on a dime. Completely.
Yeah.
He tore the walls down by himself. And I painted with my sister. And everything was, you know, on a very thin budget.
Yeah.
So
it was no money. So, and like when you don't think about it, I need shelves. I need enough records to fill the shelves because I didn't have much records. I had like 800 records that I would take around to pop-ups, you know, and they were all good, but that's not enough. You need I wanted like 20,000 records in here. So that month I was buying collections left and right as much as I could. And then we were in here during the day. Basically I would come in early in the morning and I'd work my butt off until, you know, 6, 7 o'clock. I'd come home, I'd watch the kids. She would come up here with her sister and paint and do
till
stuff.
3 a.m. every morning.
Every morning, and then she would come home and sleep. And then the next morning, it was like we barely saw each other. But we hustled it out. We got it done. We opened October 6th last year. It was the 5th?
5th. Yeah.
Shoot. October 5th last year.
Yeah.
And we looked at pictures. I mean, I uploaded a video of a tour. And the shop was so clean, but I barely had anything in here. I mean, I had a lot of records, but it was not enough. And I'm just at the point now to where my shelves are full.
Yeah.
Before that, like it's been hard to buy enough inventory to keep the shelves full, which is a great problem to have.
Yeah.
But that whole time, you know, it was a very uncertain time. It was a very joyful time. We were very happy, but at the same time, we were stressed. On opening day, I remember right before we opened, I was here at 6 a.m. Making sure everything was ready, and I remember thinking, if I do not make a lot of money today, we are screwed. I had 13 cents in my bank account.
Yeah.
We didn't take out any loans or anything like that, but I needed a lot of money because I owed rent. My rent check had already been mailed. With no money. I don't float checks, but that was the only time I did it because I had faith it's going to happen. We're going to make enough money to cover it. I owed my mom some money. She needed it the next day, badly, because of the nature of the loan. But anyways, that was the only loan I took out was from my mom, and it was not much money. But I needed all that money, and opening day, we took off and made enough money that first day. And we've been open ever since. So it's been a really weird year to open a record store. It's been great, honestly. I mean, it's been fantastic. I am excited to see what a normal year would look like. This year's been insane for everyone.
Yeah.
But, you know, when we shut down initially at the beginning of the pandemic, I thought this was going to be a couple weeks, you know, and ended up being 2 months of us being shut down. And so that was a really hard 2 months. We had to ship a lot. We didn't know when we were going to be able to open back up. We didn't know if we were going to make it. You know, I read a statistic that 50% of new businesses don't make it to a year. And the fact that we made it to a year in this year, thank you guys, like all the regular customers that have come in here. It's the repeat customers that come in here consistently that really keep us going. And a lot of you guys are long distance, like some people come from Raleigh and Greensboro and South Carolina that are only able to come once a month. We love you guys to death too, but there's a lot of people that are locals here that come in every week. Got someone that come in every day. Yeah. And it's just that's the best part, really.
Even when we were shut down, so many people supported by buying shirts and hats and stickers and
and records,
all those, you know, all that. was so
Yeah.
huge. And
Yeah.
we were literally shipping out, like, after the kids went to bed, literally shipping out t-shirts, like stacks of t-shirts every night.
Yeah,
And
we sold a couple hundred a week. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But that kept us alive. Like we really appreciate that. So I'm just grateful that we're still open, and hopefully it's all uphill from here. But we are fighters, and we love you guys, and we love records. So we're gonna keep it going. So, anyways, is there anything you want to add to that? That's the story in a nutshell of how
vinyl isn't going anywhere.
Yes. So you guys know my T-shirts that I have.
Yeah.
That's when the whole pandemic started and we shut down. I said I want to do a T-shirt basically for this thing, and what's it going to be about? And one question that I get, most popular question I get from people that aren't into records, is when do you think the record craze will be over? Won't you be out of a job then? And I always say, vinyl isn't going anywhere. And that's where the shirt came from. Because people always ask that, and I really believe that, and I know I've said this before, but I believe that it's more than people that are collecting. I feel like we're in a culture now to where the past 10 years since smartphones came out and everything's so much easier, we have such a culture of instant gratification. And I feel like people are seeing that there's no reward in that.
Yeah.
That delayed gratification is more rewarding. Like when I was a kid, my dad didn't buy me a car. He made me work for it. And when I got my car, it was a piece of crap. But I loved it, and I didn't wreck it because it was mine, and I worked for it. If he'd just given me a car and said, enjoy, I'd have probably wrecked it, But it's the same way with, listening to, there's there's nothing wrong with listening to streaming music. I do it. But I'm just saying, I think people really respect the process of finding an album, holding it in your hands, looking at what this artist made, and appreciating it for that. And so I think that delayed gratification type thing, enjoying that process, is just a sign of where I hope our culture is moving towards, is seeing that, okay, maybe we skipped a couple steps ahead. We need to enjoy, and we had it right, in the past. So that's what I hope. I've always been into records. Also, like, people have been buying records. They never stopped. Like, if you look at popsych.com, that's all the eBay listings from years ago. You can go back to like 2010. People were still buying records then and paying a lot of money for them. So, it's just pockets of collectors, but now there's more collectors than there's ever been. So, all that to say, vinyl isn't going anywhere. So, we're going to answer some questions.
Yeah.
We got asked a bunch of really good questions. So we opened it up on Instagram tonight. So a lot of these are from tonight, and I'll go along. For the Love of Vinyl asked me, what's your favorite thing about owning a shop? My favorite thing about owning a shop is the independence of being able to be with my family more. That's why I wanted to open a shop. Not everybody knows probably, but my oldest son has autism, and part of the reason why I wanted to get out of a conventional job and have something more flexible so I could spend more time with him and help him in his development and stuff. That's huge for him. And so I want to be home as much as I can be, or if I'm running errands or doing things for work, they're able to come with me. There are a lot of times where they ride out with me to buy collections and stuff. So that's my favorite thing. Another favorite thing is the community aspect of it, getting to know people, getting to know people's tastes. My repeat customers that come in here all the time, or people that come in, like a lot of you guys that watch my channel, if you're passing through on vacation or wherever, you'll stop in. We're in a really convenient spot off the highway, so you'll stop in and come hang out, and I get to meet people that have been watching my videos. That's huge. But just getting to know you guys, like that's such a cool thing to be able to bond over music. For years and years, I had nobody to talk to about it. Like, I just, she always supported me, but she don't care. She don't care about what. Look at this Japanese pressing. She's like, but she's always been a huge support of everything I do. And like, we were talking earlier today, and one of us said, a woman in a man's life can make or break him, and that's very true. She has very very much helped me in my life and in this business, and I couldn't have done it without her. And she, you know, she's not super into records. Like I know a lot of you guys, your wives hate your records. You know, a lot of guys come in here and they like, please don't send my receipts.
Which I have been there.
Oh yeah, she wasn't.
There
I was a big
season.
fan. But they'll be like, please don't email my receipt. My wife will see it. She'll freaking kill me. You know. But you know, she's been there. But when she saw like where the business was going, she's been behind it 100%. So that's been really huge in this whole thing working. Is there an item that came into the shop that you wanted to keep for yourself but decided not to? Unfortunately, that happens all the time. I see things I want to keep, and I have to restrain myself from doing that. Sometimes I still take it home. Don't tell my wife.
Just for a little while.
Yeah, it's all inventory.
Yeah.
It's all potential inventory.
Yeah.
If times get bad enough, you know, everything's getting sold. What would you do if you didn't own a record shop? That's a great question. If I didn't own a record shop, I don't know. I think that there's an alternate universe to where I'm good at writing music.
Yeah.
I'm not in this universe, but I want to. I'm joking. I'm not joking about me not being good at it.
No, he is good at it.
I love to write
Put it
songs.
out there.
I don't. I would love to be a musician. I mean, I am a musician, but I'm not one that makes. I did it for years and made money, a little bit of money here and there doing it. But I think that if I had poured into that more and worked harder at that, I could be like a career musician, like making things like music, not like a rock star or anything, but like making music for little things here and there, you know, for backgrounds of videos and stuff like that, you know. I think that's something I really would have wanted to do. But if I did own a record store, I don't know. That's my main interest in all of my skills involve music.
Yeah.
So, beyond that, I have done a lot of other jobs. But the stuff that I really find fulfilling, that I pour my heart and passion into, is music related.
Yeah.
What is the biggest obstacle you had to overcome opening a shop? Asks Levi Yoakum. That is a great question. The biggest obstacle we had to overcome was probably just the financial aspect of it and the financial risk of it. I mean, we didn't have a lot to risk anyways. We hadn't that much to lose. But we decided we didn't want to go super in debt with this. Yeah. So we really tried to do it on a shoestring budget, work really hard to buy collections and do it really, not to say that that's the right way, but that's how I wanted to do it. I didn't want to rack up a bunch of debt in the process of it. But we started small like we do now. I think we probably are like 90% used. Yeah. We do some new inventory, but I feel like a lot of the other stores in the area do new, and for me, used is where I get excited. I don't get excited with new stuff, so it's a lot easier to do used if you know where to find it. So that was the biggest obstacle is being able to afford it. You know, none of our parents are rich. None of us. We didn't get bankrolled. We had to really work for it. So that was the hardest part.
And even like time. Like, we have very limited resources when it comes to people watching our kids too. So we had to be split up in that. So we had to take turns, like, in what, like, his strengths were. Like, I can't organize the records, but I can paint, and like different, like, we just had to take on different roles, and just like lost a lot of sleep and time over that. And too, like, I think, like, if we had not put in all the years and time, like 10 years of ramping up for this, like that, exactly. Like, I don't look at that as an obstacle, but like, we couldn't have walked into this without the time, the 10 years that we had put into building this. Yeah. And like, a lot of the inventory was his personal inventory, or like all of his personal records when we started. And that was like 10 years worth of investing in his own personal collection that we used. Yeah. Like,
but I mean, also, like,
we say we didn't have a lot of money put into it, but you had a lot of money
I did.
Like, personally, that over 10 years of stuff he had acquired. So
yeah, and like, you know, I had sold my stuff off when we needed money here and there, but I still had a lot of stuff that I brought from home. And, you know, also just the knowledge and know-how to not only know a lot about the records, but how to make it happen, how to make the business work. So I think a lot of people ask me like, what would you suggest to me if I want to open a record store? And some people say, I'd love to open one. I get people all the time ask me, I'm thinking about opening a record store. I've never bought or sold a record, but I really want to do it. It's really hard to make that work. If you've never bought or sold a record, it's very hard to make that work. Yeah. I started, and honestly, what drove me, what I think one of the reasons that it got off the ground was because not only did I need the money, but I was passionate about it. Yeah. So I didn't only have the money driving me, but I had the passion behind me that was driving me. So, that was probably what pushed me a lot of those times when I was younger. I wasn't making a lot of money doing it, was the passion and learning about records and finding new records. I'm still learning so much every day, but it's just always, it's learning and growing. And like, if you want to start a store, I think the smartest way to do it is start online store, buy and sell a little bit at a time until you work your way up to more stuff. Then do pop-ups, establish yourself in the community, get to know people around, and then once you open a record store, people know about it, they're ready, they can come. That's what I did. That's why I would suggest to other people. So someone said, how much in a dollar amount did it take to get Noble Records open as a business? Everything I could. It was only as good as how much money I could scrape together. So everything I could, that's hard to say. I don't know how much it was. It was every single ounce of money I could squeeze out of the things I had. So have you ever had a customer in the shop that made you mad or angry? Yes. We have had a lot of those. Most customers are not that way. But my pet peeves is when, like, some of the records I pay a lot of money for. A lot of the really rare stuff, sometimes I'll buy a collection and find some really rare stuff, but a lot of the really rare stuff, I have sources for those things, and so I have a lot of money invested in that stuff. And people think I just get these records for $1 each, and they'll come in and try to talk me way down, like, I'm a small business. Like, you don't go into Walmart and try to talk them down, even though they could probably afford it. They're a huge enterprise. I'm a small business. Like, every dollar counts. So when people come in and they try to talk me down, I understand sometimes, like, if something's been here for a long time, like, I'm willing, maybe to haggle a little bit. But, like the other day, I had a guy that came in and he had like $170 worth of records. He's like, all right, here's my offer, crisp $100 bill. And I'm like, dude, get out of here. Like, that's like half price. I can't afford that, So that's one thing that bothers me. Another thing that bothers me is when people stay late and like really late. Like, sometimes she picks me up so we can go get some dinner or something, and she'll be waiting in the car for like 30 minutes and people just don't care. That's really frustrating. But usually
people are messy, and
if you're dealing with general public, it's going to be that way.
Any customer service, kind of
for sure. And some people are kind of in their own world and they don't really realize they're being jerks, but it happens. Hardest thing is probably people bringing records in and thinking they're worth $1 million. And you got to think it from their perspective. Like, they're bringing in records that they've had since they were 20 years old, and they've been thinking for all these years that they're worth so much money. And I tell them, like, I don't really want these. Like, they're not any good. Like, it'll be big band or swing or classical stuff that's really not worth anything and in horrible shape. And they'll want the world for them. And I'll just say, listen, I can't really use these. And they get really upset a lot of times. Or like people have
backing in and wiping off the mold off the covers.
Oh, yeah, that happened the other
like
day.
Unsticking them.
It's stuff in horrible shape, and people look them up on eBay and they say, oh, this record's worth, $600 or whatever, and you're like, dude, that's like a $10 record. So that happens a lot. A lot of people get on their phones and they research, and they find the most anyone's ever asked for, Michael Jackson Thriller, and that's what they want, and people don't understand you're trying to run a business. So that's really frustrating and really tough. At the end of the day on Saturdays, I'm wore out from people coming in and haggling with me and giving me a hard time. But the nice people keep me going. So, nice people, love you guys. Would you shave the beard
I like that question.
to acquire a grail?
Well, I'm his grail.
That's true. And I didn't shave my beard to acquire her, so question answered. But yeah, I'd shave it if I had to. I've shaved it before. Usually, someone asked me the other day my trimming method.
Is this an offer? Is someone offering?
Is this an offer? Nick Polar, holla at me if you got some offer.
He will shave it if somebody's got his grail.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They're going to give it to him.
If anyone has the farm record, you know what I'm talking about? I'll shave it. I promise you. But anyways,
Just
my
send it in. We'll
my
do a
method
video
is
real
my
fast.
trim method is to pull it like that and just cut straight. I know that's probably not the right way to do it, but that's the way I do it. When it just gets too long and it starts getting in my food, I mean, it always gets in my food, but both kinds of music ask, what's the biggest learning curve outside of doing the business in a pandemic? Yeah, doing it in a pandemic was a huge learning curve. No one knew how to adjust to that. But the biggest learning curve is knowing records enough to pay money for them and still make money.
Yeah.
Taking your time. Jeff, I know Jeff Shaw, he comes in here all the time, great guy. He just has tried his luck buying some collections and stuff, and he was telling me how hard it was, the other day he bought one that didn't work out for him. He regretted it. There's a lot of those learning moments where you regret buying things or you accidentally pay too much or whatever. The best thing to do is to take your time in those situations to make sure you're not. I've never lost on a collection, knock on wood, because I've always I need to know for sure I'm going to come out on top on this thing. So, check it, make sure things are in good condition. They're not warped, they're not molded, they're not, reissues or whatever, so you're not paying too much. But that's the biggest learning curve, is really knowledge about records and knowing, I'm not a genius. I don't know everything about records, but I know well enough to know what I'm, that I'm going to make some money. That's the best thing. And then also learning what your customers are going to want. Like there's some records, I got a lead on some records recently, and it's just some music I know no one here would buy. So I just didn't buy it because I didn't want to spend my money when I could buy things that I know people in this area are really going to be into. So any future plans on the stage in the back? We want to do music. We've done live bands here. And we will do more live bands here once everything chills. Yeah. What got you into records and vinyl? So I've talked about this in previous videos, but really just loving music. When I was young, records were CDs were on top. Records were worthless. No one wanted them. Everyone was throwing them out. I loved playing guitar. I loved Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Pink Floyd, all that stuff. And I just wanted the records. I just wanted the music. So I bought a turntable, a really cheap turntable, hooked it up, and was just getting these really cheap records. And that's really why I started. And then I realized how much I loved that format. And that was when I was 10. I started buying records. So that's what got me into it. How much to buy the store? I get this question a lot. People have tried to come in here and buy my store from me. And they offered me some serious money. The first time we first opened, someone came in here, they pulled up and offered me $5,000, and I was like, no thanks. But I have had some businessmen and people come in here and try to buy it from me, and Noble's my son's name, so I'm not going to sell my business and stuff. Had somebody years ago that wanted to buy, before I opened the shop, wanted to buy the name and my Instagram account and all that stuff. Yeah. I almost did it, but she wouldn't let me. So anyways, all that to say, this is our lifeblood. This is all our eggs in one basket. We wouldn't sell it. There's just no way.
Who is this? That's so nice.
How are you doing?
How are you doing?
We're doing good.
We're doing good.
We this has been a really crazy month for us, but it's been really good.
Yeah.
I've really been, I can't speak for you, I'm sure you have too, but really been reflecting on the last decade, being married. It's been crazy. We've had a really crazy life for the past 10 years. But the one thing that's kept us going is that we love each other more than anything, and we love our kids, and we work really hard, and that's kind of been
it's
the
been
last
crazy,
10 years.
But it's been good.
Yeah.
It's been hard.
It's been really hard. But I've talked a lot about this lately too, just to people that I know and friends of mine. You get into really tough, hard situations, and you think, when am I going to get out of this? This is killing me. Yeah. But that's what really builds you and your character. Is when you get in those hard situations, and you can't see it when you're in it, but that is what really shapes you, and builds you up, is when you're really, really tough situation.
I like this one. What record did we already say that one?
What record? Go ahead and read it.
What record are you most tired of seeing? I can't read, the usernames are too small. But.
Desert Island Tucson asks, what record am I most tired of seeing? Oh my gosh. I don't know, man. Billie Eilish records, I'm getting really tired of seeing those. She's great. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. I'm just not, it's not that I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not, I don't hate it. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, it's just.
But I see a ton of people trading them in. People asking for them. I do buy them because people want them. But I'm not into it. But it's nothing personal, Billy.
She's done incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I don't know enough.
Totally respect.
I don't know enough to say, and I haven't really listened to it that much. So don't. If you like Billie Eilish, please don't take offensive to that. And maybe you could recommend me some songs, and I will be into.
Oh my.
Emily, what's your favorite psych record? I can tell you, I know what it is.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I know what you're.
What?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
No.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
I
Court of
do.
Crimson King.
I do like King Crimson.
Okay.
Is that song?
It's close enough. It's prog. It's close enough. But what psych record she likes the most, which I'm going on a limb here because this isn't really psych, but people call it pop psych, even though it's really not at all. What?
I don't know.
Pet Sounds. Beach Boys Pet Sounds
Oh, yeah, that's psych.
No. People have called it pop psych, but I don't think it is. I think that you probably would like Zombies Odyssey and Oracle. We had it on the other day. The Zombies.
I don't know.
You don't remember it, but there's a song called A Rose for Emily.
Yeah.
This is from my good buddy Sean that comes in here. He's a regular.
Oh yeah.
What be Emily's favorite vintage album or band, and her favorite modern album and band?
Ooh, I might need help thinking of them, but I have a lot. So, gosh, I don't know.
I don't know. We've talked about, as far as vintage goes, you like Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
You like Joni Mitchell a lot.
Yes.
We like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young a good bit.
Yeah.
And then new, you're into.
I love all Bob Dylan,
Mm-hmm.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then new. I mean, I think we've already said this in a video, but I love Brandy Carlisle.
Mm-hmm. Sleeping at Last.
Sleeping at Last.
That's our favorites together.
Really, I mean, I know this is like old but kind of new. That has just been reissued. Tom Petty.
Oh yeah.
Wildflowers.
We love that.
So good. Anyways.
So those were some of the questions that we got. We got a lot a long time ago, but I can't find them.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry. We'll close with this question. This is one question that I remembered that I really liked. And I've asked myself this many times in the past. If I could go back to when I was 15 years old, what would I tell myself? That was the one question I got that I was like, man, that's a good question. And I do ask myself that question a lot. Over the years, I've thought, man, if I could just go back and talk to myself when I was 15 years old, how much wisdom could I give myself? But, here's the thing. When I'm 15 years old, I was still a dumb kid, so I probably wouldn't listen to myself.
Right.
But the main things in life that I've learned that I think would translate well to a 15-year-old, and especially me as a 15-year-old, was number one, be yourself.
Yeah.
Over the years, I have tried to do things because other people wanted me to, or my parents wanted me to, or whatever, that were not me, and it was not myself.
Yeah.
And I knew who I was, and I knew I wasn't being myself, but I was trying for something else, and I was embarrassed of who I was. Like, I mean, records haven't always been cool, but it's always been me. I've always been into it. So if I had, when I was 15 years old, started really digging in deep to records, really learning more about them, reading books, because the internet wasn't as big of a thing then. There was no Discogs.
Yeah.
But really starting, I mean, I could have started then selling records, but if I'd have known how to do it. But really learning, getting my education off then with records, and coming into that with pride, and not a bad pride, but like confidence rather. Getting into it and just saying, this is who I am, we're gonna do it. And then also consistency. So being consistent with something, when we first got married, we would buy and sell things, and like so many times I was trying to figure out where we could make the most money. We've been watching American Pickers like everybody else, and I wanted to figure out what antiques or whatever I could buy. And it wasn't records for a while. It was like not antiques, like junk. It was, you know, tables and chairs and stuff. It just didn't work. But we've gone from this to that to this to that, trying to figure out what it's, you know, I've done graphic design, I've done music, I've done worked in a glass factory, I've done landscaping, I've done plant installation, I've done you know, the website stuff, like the works, jumping around trying. I thought graphic design was it forever, but then I just had to realize, dude, you're not that good at it. But anyways, but if I had stuck with the one thing and been consistent about it, find that one thing that you love and that you're really passionate about, and that's really you, be consistent and do it. That would be the only thing I think I could understand at 15 years old. A lot comes with life experience. A lot comes with pain and struggle. You know, there's been a lot of times where we had absolutely no money, and I've had to sell a record to pay our power bill or whatever. So over the years, it's, you know, it's been tough, but we're finally at the place now where I feel like, you know, we're able to do something that we really love, and we're building something for our kids, you know. So that's the main thing. But it's been really great the past year, and I just hit 25,000 subscribers on my YouTube like the other day, and it's crazy. We're really enjoying that, and also just being married for 10 years is crazy, and our oldest is 7 years old now, which is crazy. So it's a really cool time, and we really love being married and being able to
Why?
I beeped it out. But no, we really love.
Really hope no one I know watches.
I'm kidding.
Lord help us.
We really love being of service to you in the community. So thank y'all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button that is right here. Check out some of our other videos. Follow us on Instagram.
Buy some merch.
Yeah, buy some merch. Yeah, there's links in the description to buy t-shirts and hats and stickers and all that stuff. Hats are coming soon.
Yes.
So thank y'all so much. We'll see you next time.